Hello everyone, welcome to EduTap. Today we had with us Mr. Shajeev Pillai. He is a true commercial banker working with Union Bank of India, and he has had a very interesting and illustrious academic and professional career, from being a software engineer to going into banking at one of the most commercially vibrant branches in India. And then he has cleared JAB, CAB exams, and he's given a lot of competitive exams. So he has a gold mine of in experience and information on how to approach it. And finally, acing the Reserve Bank of India exam to be an RBI Grade B officer. Congratulations, sir, and welcome to, and thank you for being with us and sharing your story with our students.
Thank you, ma'am. It's a pleasure.
How does it feel to finally arrive at the destination every banker dreams of?
It's been some time that the results are out.
Yes.
2 days ago, the rank list was out too.
Yes.
Slowly, everything is sinking in, and I'm just understanding what this means. It means everything to me, my parents, my friends. It's a dream come true, and yeah, for every banker, for every commercial banker, they just want to be at the top, and there's no other place than the RBI.
Definitely.
So it's a dream come true, ma'am.
Many, many congratulations, sir. Tell us something about your educational background and how is it that you came to this point today? So what has been your journey?
Ma'am, I completed my graduation from LD College of Engineering. I did information technology. I completed in 2018.
Right.
So while I was doing engineering, I had a lot of other hobbies. I do not know if I should call them hobbies, a lot of other interests. So I could not concentrate fully on engineering. In the third year or fourth year, I guess, I knew that engineering was not it for me. So I had to pursue other options if I had to get a job. So at that point of time, I thought banking was the best bet because staff selection commission. There were a lot of problems with that.
Yes.
The exams got rescheduled and a lot of other stuff. So I tried my bet and then I went to a coaching class and I started with banking prep. There was a friend with me. Both of us went to the coaching class straight after college. This was in the year 2018.
Right.
So in the last semester of my engineering degree. So I just did the basics. My maths was good, but not good enough for the banking examination.
Right.
Again, English was my strong point, and it is still today. So I just knew that I had to cover a few basics, and it would go well. The first exam I attempted was SBI PO, and it did not go that good for me. After that, I cleared IBPS PO and IBPS clerk in the first attempt itself. It was 2018. Their results came out in 2019. So I got a job in Union Bank of India, IBPS PO, and for IBPS clerk, it was Canara Bank. I went with Union Bank of India, and I've been working there since the last 4.5 years, and here I am today.
Brilliant. Right. And during this time, you have given a lot of multiple exams, so you are well versed with how to approach them. So tell us a little about that.
It is not true that I was not happy with the post that I'm currently working at.
Definitely.
But I always believe that I can do more. I can achieve more. So while working as a credit officer in the branch that I'm currently working in, I always tried to give all the examinations that we were in a lot of Telegram or WhatsApp groups, and we knew that these exams are coming, be it LICAAO or NICL or SSC CGL. I've given SSC CGL 5 times. I'm not prepared for them, but I just go and sit there.
Yes.
I do not know trigonometry or geometry, but I'm not well versed in those areas. But then, just for the sake of being in the flow, I give a lot of exams, and these things help in the end.
Yes.
Because when you're working aspirant, you do not get enough time to prepare all the topics that are in the syllabus. You have to play according to your strengths.
Yes.
And that's exactly what I did. So I knew that I was good in English, so I did not have to cover a lot of topics. For quant especially, I'm still not good in quant. I can do data interpretation, simplification, and average and a few arithmetic topics. Not all of them.
Right.
But then when the exams approached, I would appear for a few mocks. I would try to build up my confidence. and it was the prelims is usually a qualifying subject. So, and especially in RBI Grade B, where content reasoning plays a role only in phase one, I just knew that I have to clear the cutoffs, and English and GA would might do the job for me. That's
Right.
what I always believe.
True.
So that's what I did for content reasoning. I just covered the basics. Then that's it, ma'am.
Brilliant. So, clearly your strategy has worked, but I from our discussion I remember there are very specific things about how you approach descriptive and interview which really I think worked really well in your favor. So let's quickly go through each of the stages and see how was it a little different you with you being a working aspirant for you. So what were your sources for phase one and phase two, and how did you approach it?
Ma'am, I would like to mention here that I had also given the exam in 2022. Well,
Right.
the interview did not work out for me last year.
Yes.
So I knew how this examination worked.
Yes.
Uh, so I also knew that you have to clear, you have to know a certain amount of things in those subjects if you want to clear the cutoffs.
True.
So this year in phase one, uh, I'll just go a little bit back than the phase one examination. So
Right.
back in March, I had joined EduTap's crash course. Uh, Being a working aspirant, it was very difficult for me to be in the flow. Even though I say that I give a lot of examinations, but I do not clear those examinations. I've
Right.
seen a lot of failures there.
Right.
So I thought if I'm studying through a crash course, it will become easier for me. I'll practice a lot of questions.
Yes.
Uh, Nervous with English and uh, the other sir, I'm
Vishnu
sorry,
sir.
I'm for VD
The
sir, VD
Yes,
sir,
sir. Yes,
Vishnu sir,
yes,
yeah, Vishnu sir
yes.
with content reasoning, he helped me a lot.
Right.
Yeah, they were amazing teachers.
Yes,
So
certainly.
every single day when I came back from work,
Mhm.
I just used to sit with my laptop and then they would teach content reasoning, and I would just go through the topics again, trying to understand every little bit of whatever they're trying to teach. And because RBI asks a lot of difficult questions in content reasoning,
Yes,
the level is going up every
yes,
single year. And
yes,
in the morning section, Quant was the difficult top section, and the afternoon section, reasoning was the difficult section. So you have to at least get some of your basics right, and you have to know which questions you're going to attempt. If you're
right,
gonna if you're gonna get stuck at one question, I mean that is going to be. I've seen a lot of questions, seen a lot of friends uh, who have scored good marks in phase one, but then they have not cleared either quant cutoff or reasoning
right,
cutoff.
right.
So
That's
the
a
crash course
brilliant.
helped for me.
Yes, great.
Yeah.
Mm.
Other than that, ma'am, for phase two, it was I was an EduTap gold package member since the last 1 year. So
Yes,
I had the sources because if you're working aspirant, I mean, a lot of people would think otherwise. But then for me, when you're like going to the office at 9:30 and coming back at 8, you have to have the sources with you
yes,
because I'm not the guy who makes notes or refers to those notes on the exam day. So
right,
you have to have that PDFs with you to get the ultimate touch, right? You
yes,
have to remember those figures, numbers, or whatever you want to. So
absolutely.
EduTap helped me in that. I learned a lot of. I completed the management part. I learned I almost completed the finance part.
Right,
ESI has been my weak point in the last 2 years. I did not. Thankfully, I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to have to do it again. But yeah,
right,
I did not study a lot of ESI. But then yeah, I completed the second phase with the EdTech course. And for
yes,
the third phase, EdTech mock helped me. I took one another mock. Other than that, two of my friends helped me how to talk, what I'm doing wrong, how
right,
I should think and answer, how I should pause before answering everything. If
right,
I'm not knowing something, uh, how to ask the interview panel to give me some time.
right,
That shows that I've improved from the last time. I've learned something new and I've came there. Last
right.
time when I went to the interview, clearly they might have felt that this is a novice sitting in front of them. He
Mm.
does not know anything. So I wanted to change that,
Right.
and yeah, I changed it. That's
So, with ESI, I remember uh, after your phase two, you were quite disheartened with your performance in the exam, but clearly what your strengths are worked wonders for you. So, tell us uh, how did you approach descriptive so that it it was brilliant considering what your ESI scores are. And I understand that you were a little worried because of your ESI objective paper, but everything else worked out for you, especially the descriptive and some things that scares a lot of people. You seem to be quite a natural at it, because I know from talking to you that you've not typically practiced so much, but I think it's a summation of all that you know, and in general from your banking experience and the way you approach things and your habit of reading the paper, for instance. Can you tell us what makes you naturally, so to speak, good at descriptive, and how did that aid you as against, say, ESI objective, or your weaknesses of schemes and things like that? Can you please talk a little about that?
Sure. As you said, as you correctly pointed out, ma'am, being a banker helps. I mean,
Yes.
you're going to the Reserve Bank of India. The panel expects you to know certain things.
Right.
More than that, the examiner also will ask you questions that you're already currently working at. So if
Yes.
I'm doing PMSVN loans, or if I'm the products that PMJJBY, PMSBY, that's common for the bankers, not for the
Right.
other people. So
Hmm.
you already know certain things. If
Yes.
you're working at the bank in a bank for the last 4 or 5 years, you know what the scheme stands for, who are the beneficiaries, that sort of stuff. Other than that, ma'am, I have a habit, and that habit which I usually tell people, if they are not into that habit, try reading newspaper
Yes.
for at least for 30 minutes every single day. That will help you. I've been doing this for the past, I don't know how many years. I mean, since, I mean, I guess I was 15. I was in school. I've been I started from the Times of India.
Mm.
I shifted to the Indian Express, then to the Business Standard and the digital version of the Mint. Everything
Right.
helps, ma'am. If
Yes.
you're reading a newspaper, you'll get a lot of knowledge from there itself. You do not
Yes.
have to uh, really remember, really read all this everything from the syllabus. If you're reading the newspaper, and you need to know what you're going to read in the newspaper. You cannot read the city edition from the Times of
Yes.
India if you're going to prepare for the RBI Grade B examination.
True.
So selective reading helps. uh, for aspirants who are starting new, they should read the newspaper. They should start it from tomorrow itself if they are new to this. Then there are a lot of groups which share newspaper cuttings. For
Yes.
instance, if you are RBI Grade B aspirant, there are a lot of groups which share these newspaper cuttings. You should go and read them. There are a lot of other people who share what that article is about.
Yes.
If you're going to read it, I mean, if you continuously do this for a certain number of years, it definitely helps you in the longer run. You can
Right.
always write about it if someone asks. I mean, if you ask me, sir, something about, I mean, I'll be able to write something. I'll jot down some points and then I can expand on it later.
Yes.
That's how newspaper reading helped me. Other than
Right.
that, ma'am, ESI objective was a nightmare for me.
Yes.
I performed even poorly than the last year. I
Yes.
guess I scored around 15 or 17 last year. This time I scored in single digit marks.
Yes.
That's why
And
I
yet
was.
you made it. So, well, there's clearly people can play on their strengths, and it's all right to have a little bit of weakness. You can make up for it through other sections, which is a common worry, that you have to be epic in every single thing. But maybe being above average in some things, and dealing with your weaknesses is clearly something a lot of students can learn from your experience. But do tell me a little something about your interview experience. I remember the way you approached your interview prep this time around is brilliant, and almost crafting your crafting your interview sort of application form in such a way that you kind of baited the interviewers into asking the right questions which you could tackle very easily. So that is also a beautiful approach. So tell us a little about that. How did you prepare? uh, what was this interesting approach that you decided to do this year, and how it actually impacted your interview?
As I told earlier, two of my friends, they were actually helping me out with my interview prep.
Yes.
So I'd gotten a few list of questions which the interviewers could ask me.
Yeah.
I did not get enough time to prepare all the answers, but then I was going to the working and functions of Reserve Bank of India.
Right.
Other than that, I read RBI's website. I went through RBI's website. I could not read it thoroughly like the other candidates used to.
Right.
Other than that, last year I did not make a lot of changes in my biodata, but then I found out that I was missing a few hobbies here and there.
Mm.
But then, what hobbies to choose so that the interview panel would get interested to ask questions from there?
Mhm.
For that, first of all, you have to know the first few questions that the panel is going to ask you. If you're not unable to answer those questions, they are not. I don't think that they'll touch on the hobbies part.
Right.
So I I was fortunate enough this time. Luck was with me this time that I could answer whatever questions they threw at me.
Right.
I added a daily intuitive writing and sports blogging in my hobbies. This part. This was suggested by both of my friends.
Right.
They told me to add a few hobbies. You can work on these from the mains to your interview part. I mean, daily intuitive writing is not different from diary maintaining a diary, but then I do it in my mobile.
Right.
So you can read out your goals, and you can point out what your moods are. So that helps. Other than that, ma'am, I have interest in sports. I've been a sports quizzer. I quiz a lot. So I thought sports blogging would be nice.
Mhm.
So my friend told me that let the interview panel come to you and ask what that means. So then
Right.
you can explain the same.
Right.
So midway through the interview, they asked me what these hobbies mean, and I could clearly explain them that I'm interested in sports quizzing. I picked it up in college, and I write about it on Twitter.
Right.
That's all they asked me. They asked about me. Whatever,
Brilliant.
I mean, two or three questions about hobbies, and I was fairly confident about my hobbies that time. This time,
Right. Brilliant. So clearly, working with your strengths, um, during being a working aspirant, tell us a little about how you managed to find time, considering you were in one of the more hectic jobs, even within the banking space. So, how did you manage to prepare along with your full-time work and a hectic job at that?
it was difficult, ma'am. I mean, even if I am sitting here and I think about it daily, it has been very difficult for the last 2 or 3 years.
Yes.
So I changed my sleep schedule. I would not sleep for more than 7 hours a day. But then that does not mean that I'm studying every single day. That
Right.
consistency would never come to me because I would procrastinate a lot. But
Right.
then I'll try to read for 2 hours in the morning and then come back from work and put in 2 hours more. So
Right.
reading something, I mean, it is not that I'll go and complete management syllabus 6 months before the examination. I
Yes.
was never that kind of a candidate because
Right.
I'd completed management in 2022 itself.
Right.
I just had to revise it again. So
Yes.
for finance and ESI, finance again, you know the important topics, what all they can ask. You know about monetary policy committees. Whenever MPC meeting happens, you always read about them in the newspaper. If there's a
Yes.
rate change, you have to implement it in your banks, in your work. So it actually helps that you're in a bank, and that helped me a lot.
Yes.
Other than
I
that,
think you are underplaying your approach, how well versed you were with the exam a little bit. One of the things that I find the most curious about you, and that the fact that you have a lot of curiosity. You've been a quizzer, you read paper regularly. Half of the work of uh, a lot of the times aspirants like a structured approach. You may not have had such a structured way of reading one chapter a day, but you've kept yourself well versed with the banking and the banking world and whatever was happening which was in relation to your syllabus. So I think you underplay your strengths there a little bit. You have this curiosity, innate sense of learning that I've always been able to see that in our conversation so far. And I'm sure that like you said, being in the banking space, a lot of your finance and being a regular avid reader of the paper, being an avid quizzer, I think you should also elaborate a little on that. Back in the day, this all has contributed to a slightly, shall we say, higher basic level of general awareness that you've always had. So um, that is also, I think, a contributing factor,
I
which
mean,
I don't know if you agree.
I guess, ma'am, being curious always helps. You have
Yes.
to have a basic understanding of the things that are happening around the world. I mean,
Yes.
if you're not aware of the same, then it might. I mean, a lot of people, even if they are not aware of the same, they'll go with the syllabus, and it's fine for them. And uh,
Yes.
it works differently for different people. In
Exactly.
college, I was a quizzer, so I had to. I read a lot. I still read a lot of articles,
Yes.
newspaper articles and internet articles. I like whatever. If I like the topic, I just go and click on it and just sit and read about it. So that helped me, man. I've done a lot of quizzing in college. So the curiosity helped. But other than that, ma'am, when you're a banker, I guess you always want to be at the top, right? I mean, who does not want to be in the RBI?
Yes.
So that, I mean, I always wanted to work hard. I knew that if I'm currently a commercial banker, I have to work extra hard to be in the RBI, because I've spent a lot of years um, in my current organization. So if you're just starting, say you're in the probation period,
Mhm.
in the training or the probation period, it will be a bit easier for you because you do not have that extra responsibility on your shoulders.
Yes.
So it becomes a bit easier. But then uh, I was very lucky. Luck plays an extremely important role, ma'am. I do not know. I cannot say that I respect luck, but I'm thankful that it was with me this time around. I've got a brilliant branch. My branch manager helps me a lot. Everything um, worked out for me this time. The panel was cordial. The questions were good. I answered them correctly. I was not nervous this time. Last time, it was a bad experience for me. So, ma'am, yes, everything worked out.
I would add on to your being incredibly humble that luck does favor the brave and the ones that work. You have to work hard to have luck favor you. You had the requisite knowledge base, of course, which is why you could play at those strengths and finally get here. So brilliant work done there. But I'm sure during this, shall we say, slightly long journey of a lot of exams, a lot of experiences, you might have had a little bit of uncertainty or some phases where you wondered if you would make it. So how did you approach that, and how was your general um, approach to handling those uncertainties or challenges or low phases, shall we say, after, say, a failure?
So, ma'am, I'll start with 2018. 2018 was my first RBI Grade B attempt. I
Right.
missed the prelims cutoff by 0.25 marks.
Yes.
I cried a lot that day. I still remember, because I was not expecting to clear it. But then when you miss by a very thin margin, you just know that, yeah, you could have worked harder.
Yes.
Um, that year, I guess Kerala floods was also one of the reasons.
Right.
After that, ma'am, 2020, a few personal reasons. My father's health was not well. I could not attempt the exam in 1 year. After that, COVID came. I guess 1 year the exam did not happen.
Right.
From 2018, for 1 year I was engrossed in the training and my work at Union Bank of India. Other than that, I made a lot of friends, and then it just happened. I mean, I did not start giving a lot of exams just after the 1 or 2 years, till 2020.
Right.
I started from 2022, I guess.
Yes.
So 2022, I was not very confident about the examination. I just wanted to try it as it was my second attempt. And then at the age of 25, 26, you just know that you have time and you can always do it in your next attempt if you're not going to succeed in this attempt. So
Yes.
just uh, the prelims approached, and I was actually not well during the prelims, uh, but then somehow I cleared it. And for mains, I completed management. I tried to complete finance. I could not. I read a few important questions and the model answers. And because of my descriptive, I cleared mains. I got plus 11 from the cutoff, so which was a fairly good score. But then interview, it was a disaster because I did not have the requisite knowledge to clear it. But
Right.
then, yes, ma'am, I went through a lot of, I'd say, failures. Definitely, they are failures because I've given a lot of examinations, and then uh, all these examinations were not given because I
True.
did not want to clear them and go and work there.
Right.
But then, it is important to stay in the loop, uh,
Yes.
to stay connected with those examinations. What IBPS, for example, thinks,
Yes.
what the examiner wants you to know, what are the new patterns.
Right.
You would not have enough time to learn all these things, right? When you are working aspirant,
Yes.
you cannot follow the syllabus completely. Then you also have a lot of interest. You have to read the newspaper. That's fine. That's a hobby. Other than that, you have to watch a lot of movies. You have to follow sports. Then there's family.
Yes. Yes.
So it's difficult. But then, yeah, I managed it.
You've been able to balance all of this very well. After that heavy question, let me just ask you, how is it that you unwind then? You have a lot of interesting hobbies with gaming, and so how did you relax yourself a little bit? What kind of movies do you watch?
Yeah.
So that aspirants also know everybody is normal. Everybody t- has a little bit of struggle and are as human as anybody. So even the people who make it do have a little bit of downtime or whenever they relax. So how did you opt for your relaxation after a hectic job and RBI prep?
Ma'am, actually, I left gaming back in my college days. I mean,
Right.
I thought it was good to leave it there itself
Yeah.
because I had to get a job, so
Yes.
I had to study for that. Other than that, ma'am, I watch a lot of sports. I
Yeah.
watch cricket. I watch basketball. I watch football. There are a few teams here and there which are my favorites, but they are not doing well currently. So it hurts, but then you have to support them. That's what a true fan does.
Right.
So that's how I relaxed. Other than that, ma'am, I used to scroll. I used to scroll Twitter a lot. I use Twitter a
Right.
lot, so that helps me. But then
Yes.
even during these preparation days, I mean preparation years, I would say,
Mhm.
I got off Instagram in 2019, and
Oh,
actually I installed it today. So it has been 4 years. Other than
yes.
that, ma'am, for Twitter
So
also,
you've not used Instagram in your entire, or you've limited your social media
yeah, I
during
I
the,
did not use Instagram at all, ma'am. I mean, I just
right.
for 1 or 2 days maybe in these last 4 years. Other than that, no.
Right.
So I
Right.
had to because you would not get enough time, right? Even if you want to read one article, say
Yes.
from one business standard article, you have to understand what the author is trying to say. You
Yes.
would not get enough time to waste, but then I would waste it on multiple other things. I would watch a lot of movies. I'm not saying that I've been studying for 24 into 7, but then
Yes.
yes, inside your mind you would always think that you should minimize certain hobbies, certain
Right.
things, and
Yes.
I minimize social media.
Right.
That's how I did it. But then I would watch a lot of movies. I'd watch sports. And
I
then
can gather from your experience that balance has been key in the way you've approached the exam and how eventually you've made it through. You've worked on your weaknesses a little bit and you've mainly played at your strengths and made them help you achieve success. What would be your some of the things that you would like to say to aspirants from based on your experiences from your journey?
um, I would I would tell them a few things, but then first thing would be never give up. I mean, I've seen a lot of failures, lot of
Certainly.
failures. I mean, if I'm sitting here in front of you and I'm getting the honor to speak, and a lot of people would listen to me, uh, never give up on your dreams. One day, if you're true enough to your dreams, and then luck also plays a major part, and that is not in your hands. A lot of people would just miss these examinations, final cutoffs by 1.25 marks, point 0.5
Yes.
marks. It just means that luck has not been on their side, but
Yes.
it can always be on their side the next year. And
Right.
luck might not be a factor if you are going with some extra points in the next attempt. So if you are
Yes.
preparing for ESI, just double the timings and just revise a lot of schemes. Just get
Right.
10 marks more. Then luck would not play that big a role. But then interview panel, there you need luck. So and you also need a lot of knowledge. So you have
Right.
to read and read. Other than that, I would just say that if you're working aspirant, you have to cut down on some of the hobbies that extra hobbies, extracurricular activities that you're doing
Yes.
because uh, that will take a lot of the time away from your studies. Uh, you have to be dedicated to your studies. Consistency is definitely the keyword that every aspirant who's clearing the examination would say that consistency is required. I would say the same thing. That's
Right.
not something new. Other than that, you have to keep reading the newspapers. Newspapers are very helpful. If you want to be an RBI officer, try start reading Business Standard or Mint from
Right.
tomorrow itself. That
Right.
will definitely help. Even if you're not unable to start understand whatever the author saying, just try keep reading. One day you will know that this is about MPC, these are about forex reserves. You'll just keep when you keep on reading, you'll I would not say that I've not practiced a lot of answers, so I'm not the best guy to say anything about descriptive. But then uh, you have to have one at least one good subject.
Yes.
You have to, as English was for me in phase one, and FM descriptive or ESI descriptive in phase two.
Brilliant.
You have to play according to your strengths,
Yes.
and that will help you in the end. That's all I can say now.
Definitely. So thank you so much for everything that you've shared, which has truly given a lot of clarity on some specific things that aspirants worry about a lot. Thank you for sharing your experience and wonderful to have had you as a student. And we wish you all the very best for your illustrious career ahead. much more so than even at the Union Bank, where you've so far been a true commercial banker. Now you'll be a true central banker. So all the very best for your
Thank you,
career
ma'am.
ahead.
Thank you, ma'am. It's been a pleasure. It's been a pleasure being connected with EduTap, and thank you for this. Thank you.
Thank you.